Hey guys, Kevin Blair with Element Home Loans. You have found Mortgage Sense with Kevin, a common sense approach to mortgages. Again, my name is Kevin Blair, and I have been waiting weeks for this interview. I'm telling you, I met this young lady, I don't know, it's been about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Had a great conversation with her, and she is a complete rock star. And you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Miss Whitney, how are you this morning?
I'm awesome. How are you this morning?
I am doing better than I should be. It's the end of the month. We're done for the month. We've had a great week of approvals, new contracts. So things are exciting.
Good.
People are
That's
still
all.
buying. People are still buying homes. Believe it or
People are
not.
absolutely still buying homes. It doesn't matter what's going on in the economy. They got to have somewhere to live.
That's right.
So,
It,
it is what it
it's,
is.
that's exactly right. Well, I've got some questions for you. Okay.
Okay.
Like I told you before, we've been watching you, been watching your numbers, uh, and you're still killing it in this market. I told you before, and I don't think you even realized that you're in the top 4% of the entire nation. Okay. So tell us a little bit about who you are, and then tell us how you're being so successful in what you do.
Sure. So I have been full time in the industry for 6.5 or so years. Before I got into real estate, I did full time retail management. So I feel like that really well prepared me for this role and this world of just constant change. And at the end of the day, you're providing a service to people. You
That's
are
right.
customer service as much as it is sales. To me, the service is a lot more important aspect because that's what keeps people coming back to you. And you talked about, what keeps me going and motivated and in this top percent. And to me, that is the service and the relationships with those people. Because once you close, your client relationship may end, but they become your sphere. And when you pour back into your sphere, they turn back around and they become clients again, or they become a referral source for you.
That's right. If we're doing the right things. If we're doing the right
Yes,
things.
if you're doing the
And
right things and you're providing the service.
so and I love that the service aspect of it. And I don't know if I told you this when we talked, but I was in the food business for 20 years before I got into this business 24 years ago.
Oh no, I
So
don't remember you saying that.
yeah, dealing with the public, and it
Hmm.
was truly a service business. And
Right,
to have a service heart, um, I think we either have it or we don't, because
right,
people know they can get a real good feel really quick if we're in it for them or if we're in it for us.
right. And of
So
course,
that,
at the end of the day, you have to get paid.
mhm,
This is how you support your family. This is how you live. It is a job and it is a career,
that's right.
and you have to be able to make money to sustain. But when you go at it with the mindset of providing good service to people and having good relationships with people so that they don't just feel like people should never feel like they're a paycheck to you. And they can definitely tell when somebody has that mindset. And that to me makes all the difference about whether or not they call you back again in the future. You want to have that good experience. That's what makes you go back to another service or to a company to reuse them. And people in this industry, it's no different. It's exactly the same.
That's right. Because what is the National Association of Realtors? They say that people buy what every 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, give or take a little. I think it's been a little less than that average the last few years just because of people's equity and the low interest
Right.
rates. 5 to
That's right.
7 to 10. And we talked about this a little bit before, but that's a huge time span. Even if it is on the 3 to 5 years, where in the grand scheme that's pretty short, that's a really, really large span of time between when they're buying one house to where then they may go sell or buy the next house. And that's kind of what I was referring to earlier, where your client relationship that ends as soon as you close. They're no longer technically a client because there's no specific service that you're providing to them, but they become your sphere. And it's your job to make sure you continue that relationship with them and have something provide them with value. You can't just call them and say, hey, who do you know that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? That benefits them in no way. They
That's
don't
right.
care. And that just says that you're selling them something. But if you're consistently building that relationship, coming from, a genuine place of actually wanting to be involved in their life, then that's what keeps them coming back. And that's what then moves them to that sphere to turn them again into repeat clients.
Yeah, it's so important to, and I'm going to tell you something, and I know I didn't tell you this. What has worked best for me, and I will, because I don't. I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this. I don't like the sales part of it. Okay, I hate it. I think what we do is advise people and give. We're a conduit for wanting to buy a house and buying the house, and it's providing that word again. It's providing a service and great information and great advice. Okay. However, my database, and I stay in front of my database all the time, uh, and I'll tell you what works best for me. Okay, I write a personal letter, and when I say a personal letter, it has nothing to do with business. You
Mm-hmm.
know, my last two, Sherry and I went on a motorcycle trip to Hot Springs, Arkansas, and I talked about that, and I put a picture of me and Sherry on the motorcycle. Last month, we took three of our grandkids and our daughter and her husband to Dollywood. Actually, they took us to Dollywood. Um, and I talked about my 8-year-old grandson that he would ride anything. There's nothing he's afraid of. So I had to ride everything.
Right.
Okay. Because this little boy's calling me names and I wasn't about to. And I just told about that experience.
Right.
You can't believe the feedback I get from that, from people that's been 10 or 11, 12 years ago that I closed a loan. And you're in it, you've been in it long enough now to get the repeat business.
Right.
And believe it or not, you're going to be closing loans for kids that you close loans for their parents. Um,
For sure.
and to get a referral is so, so strong. And so we stay in front, the current pipeline, the past pipeline,
Mm-hmm.
the people that are approved and shopping, we stay in front of them constantly because it is a great source. And that's how we feed our realtor partners as well, because
Right.
it's so very important to do that. Um, that's fantastic. You know, I'm not your daddy, but I'm proud of you. How's that?
I appreciate it. I'm always going to accept pride. So thanks for the compliment.
No, so how are you handling what's going on in our market right now?
You know, like we said when we kicked this off, people are still buying and selling. And yes, it's slow, especially compared to the last few years. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what's going on in the economy. People have to move for, job changes, for good things that happen like babies or marriage, for bad things that happen like death and divorce. There's a life goes on regardless of what's happening in the economy. I am not old enough to have been around in the business for that '07, '08 time, but I mean, it's yeah, people were still moving then. And even if it was unfortunate and they had to bring money into closing, if you got to move, you got to move.
That's
um,
right.
and I think just everything goes back to the same thing. If you put your focus on the people that are out there. Yeah, there may not be as many. You may not be doing 10 a month. You might be doing 3 a month. It doesn't matter. That's still 3 a month that you are working with and that you're helping. And if you're putting your focus on that instead of thinking about all the ones that you're not having, that to me makes all the difference. You can't just sit around and moan about how it's not as busy as it was a couple years ago. A couple years ago, we're in an anomaly. It may never be
Yeah,
like that again,
yeah,
and you have to just focus on what you do have and continuing to provide service to those people and pouring into your sphere that you do have. And if you do the things that you're supposed to do, if you're constantly in front of people, if you're providing value, if you're giving them a good experience and a good service, people will come back to you. It all pans out like it's supposed to,
that's
as
right.
long as you're doing the activities that you need to be doing. It may be a little bit slower than you're accustomed to, but that doesn't mean that you're not still reaping the rewards. It's just
That's
maybe a different level.
all right. So I want to sum it up with one word. Okay. and you ooze with this word, okay? And that's attitude, okay? It's attitude. We can we can bemoan and we can gripe and we can complain,
Right.
and what does that change?
Nothing.
Okay, nothing.
Nothing.
I have a very strong partner who's been a partner for 12 years now that says our our people take our cues from us.
Right.
Okay, if there's a fire, we can add fuel to it, or we can be the calming force, and that is what we do.
Right.
Lady, what's the best way for somebody to get in touch with you?
Best way for sure is my cell phone number, 423-432-7419. You can call or text. Text is the easiest just because if I am out driving around or in an appointment, I'll see that as soon as I leave and can follow right back up afterwards. I'm also really big on social media. My Instagram handle is TN Realtor Whitney. I post a lot of content on there. Some of it's informative, some of it's just fun and silly. But that's where I do a lot of my interacting with my sphere and my past clients and customers.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm again Kevin Blair with Element Home Loans. My website is kevinblairteam.com. Our phone number is 423-488-7571. It's answered 7 days a week, except she takes it away. She takes my phone away, Whitney, when we go to church on Sunday mornings. She won't let me touch my phone then, which is okay. Which is okay. Uh, Guys, if you like this kind of information, hit like, hit subscribe, ring that bell. If you want more information about me and my team, you can go to our About page, click a link, fill out a short form with your name and your phone number, and I will contact you personally. Whitney, I thank you so much. It's very easy to see why you've been so successful, and I can't wait to watch it continue to grow. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate the conversation and the time this morning. It's been great.
All right, let's go get us one.
Let's go get it.